Welcome back to the warm up, everybody, with Jah and Ben. But before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe on the video, turn on that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the warm up, and then please follow our new social media and followings on Instagram and Twitter as well. All right, Ben, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Excited to be here. It's been a minute. Can't wait to talk some hoops, bro.
All right, no, likewise, likewise. All right, so before we get into it, what we are going to talk about kind of got scrapped earlier, just because Shams dropped a bombshell on us. Atlanta Hawks star Trae Young is requesting a trade. Him and his agents are going to work together and try to find a new home for Trae Young. Trae Young has been a very polarizing player over the past, um, basically his entire career. And yeah, what do you think went wrong, and what do you think is going to happen from here?
Yeah, so you could kind of see a noticeable decline for Trae Young in this franchise ever since their Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 21. Um, I think the biggest thing that all Hawks fans will tell you is defensively, this was kind of a nightmare. This is something that can't be helped. I mean, Trae Young is undersized. Obviously, we know what he brings offensively, but on the defensive end, this team gets torched mainly from the point guard position, and they get him into mismatches, and it's a pretty much a nightmare. One of the things we talked about in the Outlook video for the Hawks before this season was we thought that this was going to work because they were able to add wings defensively that were able to complement the lack thereof of defense that he has. But unfortunately, it just hasn't worked. I think one of the only ways the system works is if you have good defense top to bottom. That means wings and in the paint. And so the unfortunate part for Atlanta is while you have the wing defense in guys like Dyson and Alexander Walker, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have it down low with Porzingis, who's constantly out, and Onyeka Okongwu, who is still in that growth phase, is not ready to take on a 35 minutes a game type of night. So, I think this is going to be good for Trae. I think, as far as his time of winning in this organization, they've kind of missed their window. I mean, that 2021 team was lightning in a bottle, so to
Yeah.
speak. And a lot of people argue if Trae doesn't get hurt in the conference finals, like they could have maybe beat the Bucks. I believe the Bucks 1-6. So,
Yeah.
you know, and then after that, they've just been a play-in team every year, kind of hovering around 500. So this is an organization that wants to win, clearly from a lot of the rumors that we've seen on the internet. And this is also a team that thinks that they have a chance to win in this year's Eastern Conference. So I would anticipate one of two things from this Trae Young trade. Number one, they trade Trae Young for young players that can help them compete now, or they're going to trade him for some kind of expiring contract deal in which they can get somebody this summer.
Yeah.
I know that the Steinline said that Washington was a destination. I like that fit. I'm assuming they would take McCollum's contract, and a lot of people have said like a guy like McCollum could genuinely help them win. I mean, they'd have to make a couple more moves to be competitive in the East, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. So that's my full thoughts on it. But let's hear from you, Joe.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, everything like you said, I completely agree. This dates back to, like you said, 2021 when they made that deep playoff run. Like you said, lightning in a bottle and all that. But for me, like we thought going into the season, they had the best lineup around Trae Young possibly they've ever assembled. And then he ends up getting hurt. And then you saw from like their first couple weeks to 3 to 4 weeks into the season, like it really, they're kind of like underachieving. Trae Young gets hurt, and all of a sudden, the emergence of Jalen Johnson comes, and it's like, oh, this guy Jalen Johnson is almost averaging a triple double while he's out there per 36 minutes. And it's like, oh, if we could get rid of Trae Young, because we didn't extend him, they didn't extend him. That should have been our first source of like, oh my God, like Trae Young might get traded. But the emergence of Jalen Johnson really makes it where it's like, oh yeah, Atlanta could move on from Trae Young because they have Jalen Johnson. Their defensive rating in that time frame was top five with Trae Young out. Since he's been back, they're a bottom five defensive team in the league, and which is crazy because they're still running lineups without him on the floor. But in totality, it just hurts their defense. And what happened with Trae Young, like he used to be this prolific shooter. His shot has dipped a lot over the past um, couple seasons, and his passing is really his best skill set now. And it's like, well, he's an undersized guard. He doesn't defend, and if he's not hitting that shot, he just becomes like this more traditional point guard. So it sucks that the Trae Young era is over in Atlanta. Like you said, I would actually like him to find like a reset, and I think Washington would be a good trade for both sides. One, Washington's been looking for a guy to bring in seats. Washington's about the bottom of the standings for the past 5 to 6 years, and I think if you bring in the guy like Trae Young, building what you already have with guys like Alex Sarr and potentially another top 5 pick this season, I think it could go a long way. Yeah, I don't know. I do like the trade, like you said, that the Steinline said, getting CJ McCollum, because like you said, he can help you win now, but also if it doesn't work out, it's an expiring in the summer. You can go out. There's a couple free agent guards like Kobe White, Lonzo Ball that you can go out and get. I don't particularly like Lonzo Ball at all for them, but Kobe White's kind of interesting
Yeah.
for them. But yeah, kind of sucks. Kind of sucks for Trae Young.
Yeah, I want to circle back on the Wizards. I agree with what you said on like how that could be a good fit for him because the only way the Washington Wizards are going to, like you said, fill seats or create a winning organization
Hmm.
is attracting talent through a trade.
Yeah.
No free agent's going to come to Washington until they're relevant again. Washington is they back when they had Wall and Beal, they were a very relevant Eastern Conference team, and the reality of the situation is like they are not that at all anymore. So
Hmm.
Trae Young would definitely bring excitement for Wizards fans. I think it would speed up their rebuild tremendously.
Hmm.
I don't think the defensive fit would be as big of a concern for Washington because they have a lot of prospects down there who can play a lot of really good defense versus what Atlanta has right now.
Hmm.
And of course, like Washington doesn't have to really be concerned about that right now. They just need to be concerned about continuing to let this run its course, which I think they're doing a good job of. And like you mentioned, they're going to add another top 5 pick to Sarr and Trey Johnson and whoever they get. And everybody's talking about it like this draft, like the top 6 picks could easily be the number 1 pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a huge draft for a lot of those lottery teams. And so if Washington wants to capitalize and say, "Hey, let's get a guy we can build around," this would be the move. And they've got a lot of expiring contracts like McCollum, and like I said, if you're able to add McCollum to that Hawks team, like you're feeling good about your point guard position. McCollum can still hoop.
Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, McCollum, like sometimes I'll pull up Bleacher Report and I'll be, oh, McCollum just dropped 30 or McCollum dropped 35 or like,
Yeah.
he's still down there in Washington making an impact. So that's a name to watch for at the deadline for sure, not just for Atlanta, but for a lot of those East teams that want to separate themselves or bring in a guard that can really play out. I'd also circle Houston
Hmm.
as a potential destination for him. But that's besides the point. Anyways, it does suck for him, but I do think ultimately he can resurrect his career in another place. I'm interested from your perspective, not to put you on the spot, but like, what are
Hmm.
some other destinations that pop into your mind to where you would say, like, you could potentially see that happening?
I mean, immediately I think of teams like the Brooklyn Nets. M- I don't think a lot of people say Miami Heat. I don't see Miami Heat.
Mm,
Um, I the last team that I think that could get desperate enough would be the Los Angeles Clippers. In a
okay.
weird way where you can kind of reset the Clippers timeline, and like they don't want contracts going into 2026 and 2027. He becomes a free agent. You can maybe sell high on James Harden, who's having a crazy year right now, and then you kind of take back and you reset with Trae Young. Brooklyn's interesting because him and MPJ were teammates in high school. So there's
Mm,
camaraderie there already.
that's
I
true.
I think that kind of hurts. Like I think where he goes though, like that rookie point guard for the Nets, Demon or Yegor, he's actually turned it around. So you think if you bring Trae in, it kind of stunts his growth. A backcourt of Trey Johnson and Trae Young in Washington, I kind of hate that too. So it's kind of like I don't think any of these teams are like the correct fit or they'll be in a better situation defensively than Atlanta. But it also comes down to like I think he just needs a reset in his career and like not like a life check, but like a basketball check. Like, hey, what do I want to be in this league? Because if he doesn't change how he plays and his effort, he's gonna end up being more into that 6-man role. And once you take a discount on any contract, you just never get that money back. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah.
What other teams you see?
Um, there's a glaring one for me, and I've been saying this for a few years now. I think Orlando
Mm,
is a picture perfect fit, honestly, because you look at their guard depth. They've got Suggs, who plays mainly a two. They've got Black, who, correct me if I'm wrong, plays more of a two and a three, and Tyus
mhm.
Jones. So, if you want to say, like, hey, we're serious about winning in the East this year, I think that would be a move you make because your point guard play is not necessarily where it needs to be. Defensively, you've got Desmond Bain and Banchero, and Wendell Carter's locking up the paint. So you have a lot of backup defensively to where Trae can kind of do his thing on offense. I would Orlando would be really interesting. I
Yeah,
would welcome that move for sure. Um, I was gonna say Houston, but I just can't bring myself to do it, mainly because Houston is so committed defensively. I just
yeah.
that would be a disaster
Udoka
for
would
me.
hate him.
No, I just can't see it because, like, I know a lot of Houston Rockets fans, and although like Reed Shepherd has had a lot of resurgence in the year, like,
Mhm.
when you put him out there, it's like pick and roll mismatch. Set the screen mismatch, and Reed's on the big man. So,
Right.
um, I don't think that would work in Houston. But when we look at this, I think Orlando definitely. I wouldn't mind Brooklyn either. That's another one of those teams that could use another, of a reset type player. Um, but yeah, I would say the Orlando Magic would be my biggest, like, hey, we're serious kind of move for them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I really just don't think there's like a right fit. You know what I mean? Like Orlando, I could see, but Anthony Black has been balling this year.
Hmm.
Desmond Bain's been, I mean, they're just like super injured, but I'm with you. Like they do, like a traditional point guard would help, just
Yeah, it
setting
would.
the floor up for like all those guys. But then it's like all the money work. For Atlanta side, I know they want expiring contracts and all that, but I think it would be interesting, like if it was Atlanta and Washington, if the Hawks could take a chance on a guy like Bilal Coulibaly, who's been injury riddled his entire career. This is a 6'9" point guard, small forward that I mean really fits the dynamic that they're trying to build over there. And you take a chance if he ends up hitting what they thought his ceiling was. I mean, this was a guy who played his whole high school ball with Wembenyama. Like he made a name playing next to Wembenyama, and he wasn't a scrub for no reason. And you take a chance, and they have like the point guard depth to take a chance on that. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. And but I think you're right. Like whoever tries to trade for Trae Young has to have like one or two things, like a lot of wings around him to help him defensively, or a defensive minded center that can anchor the defense. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We'll have to just kind of wait and see what happens for Trae. I would expect this is a deal that happens before the day of the deadline, probably a week before. That's usually kind of the theme. Like most of the big trades happen either the night or the week before the deadline. So I would
yeah,
expect that we'll get this one sooner than normal. But let's go
yeah,
ahead
I
and
think
shift
so
focus
though.
now. Let's see. Let's go ahead and talk about Denver. Looking at Denver, obviously there's, a lot of uncertainty after losing Nikola Jokic for what's going to look like a month. So,
Yeah.
give me your thoughts on what is next for your championship pick.
Yeah, no, I mean, God, I picked the one year I pick them, they're just riddled with injuries. No, but it's just like unfortunate bad luck. I mean, before Jokic gets hurt, I mean, I would argue he's playing the best basketball of his career. He's shooting 43% from three, 76% in the paint. Like he's just absolutely dominating that game on Christmas. He had 18 points in overtime, most points in overtime history
It's
of the
ridiculous.
league. Like he was having the best uh year of his career, and it just sucks to see him go down with injury, let alone like they just got Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun back. but they lost Jonas Valanciunas. Like they're really thin at center now, especially without Jokic and Valanciunas. Um, I feel like my biggest concern for them, there's two ways to look at it. Like Jokic got hurt, but he was playing every single game, every single most minutes. This could be looked at as a rest. They probably don't care what seed they are because when healthy, they feel like they could be anybody. So it could look at like, oh, Jokic gets 4 to 6 weeks off. Hey, we might slide in the standings, but as long as we have that guy fully healthy, we don't want to rush him back because he is the best player in the world right now and has been for the past 3 or 4 years. They
Yeah,
have a shot, you know. And then I
yeah,
feel like in the immediate, I'm just a little concerned of the amount of weight that Jamal Murray's going to have to carry on a night to night basis because he's
mhm,
actually having a career year. He'll probably be an all star. And the last thing for the Nuggets fans, like he's the only one that hasn't been hurt yet. So you got to think that like if he carries this toll, like you don't want him to get worn out before playoffs because they need that pick and roll tandem of him and Jokic. It just sucks
yeah.
overall for Nuggets fans. I hope, you know, it's looking like they might have had OKC. OKC's not looking as dominant as they were over the past 3 weeks, but yeah, speedy recovery for the big fella for sure.
Yeah, the way I look at it, first off, they're gonna lose games. That's just a given.
Yeah,
You're
especially in
gonna
the
lose
West.
games. Yeah, especially not having Valanciunas either, they're gonna lose games. Like they lost to the Nets the other night for crying out loud. So,
Yeah,
you know,
MPJ revenge
yeah,
game.
yeah. Like I agree with you though. I don't think it's as important because they're one of those teams where it's like we don't really care where our seed is. We have the best player in the world, so it's like we're just gonna unleash Jokic when he's ready and go
Right.
for it. So I do view it from that. But I think there's a positive you can take out of it because anytime a superstar player gets hurt, you have the ability to find out what else you have,
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these role players are going to get to show like, hey, this is what I can do on a night to night basis when we don't have Jokic in here scoring, 150 points a night. So, I think that's going to be important for them. They need to limit Jamal Murray's minutes as much as possible. I don't like the fact that he is the number one option because I have injury concerns for the Blue Arrow. So
Mhm.
we just need to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to help Jamal Murray have not playing 40 minutes a night because that's never good for point guards over 30 who have had knee injuries such as those. So yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at the schedule here. So you got Philly right now. Do we know the score of that game?
They were up 9 last time I looked. Or
Okay.
the Philly was up 9. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So it is yeah, they're up 9 going into the third quarter. So yeah, looking ahead, you got Atlanta who you just don't know what you're going to get with that game. You're playing Giannis then, New Orleans. I don't think you're beating Dallas. You
Mhm.
could probably beat Washington and Charlotte. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, so Jokic went down at the very end of December, so you probably will
He
not
went
see him
out
again.
on he went out on the 29th.
29th. Okay, so you're not going to see him again until at least February.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
think
going to have the whole month
All-Star
here.
break, after All-Star break for sure. I
Yeah.
would think.
So yeah, I would say there's a lot of interesting games here because you're playing the Wizards twice. You've
Yep.
got New Orleans and Charlotte. You've
Brooklyn
got
again.
Brooklyn, and then you got the Clippers. Of
Mhm.
course, that's not a guarantee. But then, of course, you got some juggernauts here. You've got the Lakers. You've got OKC, Memphis. You got to play Milwaukee twice, assuming Giannis is healthy. That's just going to be difficult because you're not going to have
Mhm.
any centers. You got to go
Right.
to Boston. I think your toss-up matchups are probably Atlanta. If Dallas will probably win that game with Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
because yeah, that's just a mismatch in general. Um, what are your thoughts? You see anything else that's glaring here?
No, yeah, I mean, if you want to glass half full it, I mean, the schedule's not terrible
It's not
is
terrible.
what we're
No,
saying. So, it's like
no, there's winnable games here.
they can tread water, like, as long as they don't go, like, 5-15 over the next couple
Yeah,
games, they're probably gonna be alright. If
yeah,
they can go, like, 7-16, that I mean, they might not even fall past, like, the top 7 in the West, which,
yeah.
I
No,
mean, now you're in
no,
the
definitely
play-in
not.
race, and then anything can happen in a one-game elimination game, right? But,
Yeah.
At the same time, like, are
Yeah.
you afraid? Like, who are you afraid of? Like, and then you're on the opposite side of OKC in the bracket if you're the 7th seed. Like, you don't have to see them to the conference finals. Like, I don't hate that if you're Denver still because I just still think fully healthy that they're the favorites. Or,
Yeah,
well, not the favorites in the West, but
yeah.
favorites
I
at
think,
least.
they need to do whatever they can to avoid the 4-5 because that's where they
Yeah.
got stuck last year and they played OKC in the second round. So
Mhm.
if you can land at 3 or below, you can put yourself in position to, avoid, playing OKC in the first or second round. I don't think they'll slip into the play-in, and even if they do, like they're gonna win. There's just no way that they're gonna there's just no way they're gonna miss the playoffs
Yeah.
unless Jokic goes down again or something. But yeah, you're right. Like, you can definitely tread water here. And, we're discounting the fact that, like, they could definitely win some of these games against these hard teams. We really don't know what it's going
Right.
to look like. So, you know, um, it could be worse. Like I said, I see a lot of winnable games on here, so we'll just have to monitor the situation and see what happens. But I think it's more. It could be a blessing in disguise when you look at it, based off the
Yeah.
fact that like Jokic gets some time off and your young guys have a chance to grow. Just make
Mhm.
sure you're limiting Murray's minutes as much as possible because you don't want to be in one of those situations where your guard's playing 40 minutes a night and you're compromising him. Because then if you lose Murray, they're not winning.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
No, yeah. And last thing on this, just with the young guys, like Peyton Watson has been amazing. He's a restricted free
Yes.
agent going into the summer. I don't think the Nuggets are gonna be able to pay him. He's basically had the exact same production as Christian Braun has had over the past 2 years. Just
Yes.
he's a lot more athletic. So it kind of sucks for them that he is playing so well because it looks like they will be losing him, bearing some crazy trade they do. But
Yeah.
yeah, Cam Johnson's also out. We forgot to mention that,
Yes,
and
he got hurt a couple weeks ago,
it
right before
just like
Christmas.
they're super injured right now, so it just sucks. But wishing Jokic a speedy recovery. He's not on crutches or anything, so that's a good sign. So maybe it's closer to the 4 weeks and not the 4 to 6 like it was reported because they said reevaluated. So we all know reevaluated really means come back to play in
Yeah,
like 5.
I
So
would I would add another week to that probably if it's a reevaluation because,
right,
when you reevaluate, they normally don't say like, "Hey, you're good to go. See you Monday." Like, that's not really
right,
how it goes. So they're going to be like, "Okay, now that we know, let's give you another week to do this portion of the prep that we need you to do with our trainers." And then you get on court, you do threes, fours, fives,
5,
and then
yeah.
you move forward.
And if it
So,
gets close
yeah.
enough to All-Star break too, it's like, all right, we got 3 games before All-Star break. Let's just rest them through those
Yeah,
and then come back, take the whole
give 'em another
All-Star
week.
break, and then
Yeah.
hit the final third of the season running. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then another interesting development in the West that we don't have to go into depth to, like as you said, OKC just got killed by Charlotte. They're 6-6 in their last 12.
it's insane. Yeah,
Two,
and
yeah,
yeah, and
back-to-back losses.
if you're the Nuggets, it's like, hey, Thunder are vulnerable. They're not this 24-1 team that was scaring everybody shooting 50% from three. Like they're looking like they have a little championship fatigue right now, and it's becoming the middle of the season. But they went from this unbeatable force to there's Spurs beat them, Suns beat them, Hornets have now beat them. It was a back to back, but hey, this is a 2-game losing streak, so
Yeah.
I think
And
that helps the trade deadline too. So it's like a lot of
yes.
teams that aren't like, oh,
Yes.
it's just okay. See, I don't even want to try it. To hold on, if we add this here and maybe something here, like we can make something shake. So
Mhm.
I'm excited.
Yeah, the looking at and then also like San Antonio's game and a half back. Like they're right there.
Yeah,
So, if they keep winning, they could legitimately take over the 1 seed because they have the 3-0 advantage over them in the season series. So,
yeah.
OKC could slip, and then another team in the West that's been looking crazy for no reason at all is Phoenix. I mean, like they just continue to win. They just
Dylan Brooks
continue to grind
effect.
it out. Yeah. Anytime Braun's in town, dude plays like he's Michael Jordan, man. I'm telling you
No,
what.
I mean LeBron or not, he's been having a career year. And Matt Ishbia took to Twitter earlier, said we are not trading Dylan Brooks. Don't even bother calling, which I think
Oh
is
yeah.
huge because I think
Yeah.
coming into the season, a lot of people had Phoenix as a potential. Oh, they'll sell Dylan Brooks, and now it's like, oh, he's a culture setter. Like we're
Yeah.
not trading him for anything. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So we can go ahead and shift to the East now. We'll address it kind of top to bottom, or bottom to top, I should say. So let's talk about like a team that we wrote off at the beginning of the season, Boston. They
Insane.
just continue to find ways to keep on surprising me. So looking at it, Boston is 3 right now, I believe,
They're
and
tied in the loss column to the Knicks now
that
after
is
tonight's win
nuts.
against the Bulls, and Knicks lost to the Pistons tonight.
Hey, you know what? In-season tournament champions, soon to be NBA champion Knicks. You know, I'm. Oh no, they actually just passed them because the Knicks lost to the Pistons tonight. So the
Oh,
Celtics are the
so
two
they
seed.
surpassed them. That's crazy.
Can you think of like 23-12 right now is number 1 in the East versus 23-12 is 4 in the West, and then
Yeah.
that's nuts. So yeah, let's talk Boston real quick. What are your thoughts?
I mean, for me, what it comes down to is one, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the Missoula effect. Like they've been instilling this culture they have about them for the past or since he got hired. Like they're gonna shoot a lot of threes and they're gonna play defense and they're gonna get out and run. And going into the season, I think where we went wrong is like you look at a lot of these guys they have on the roster, they were there when they won the championship.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you win a championship, you're a winner. And it's not like
Mm-hmm.
Mazzulla's a psychopath. Like he'll kick your ass and like do whatever you're like. He's crazy, right?
Oh
And
no,
it's
he
like
is.
I think he never was gonna tank anyway. So it was
Mm-mm.
crazy that we all even thought about that. And then Jaylen Brown, like he won Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Player of the Year, and still got disrespected. I mean, he's a max contract player for a reason. What at the time was the highest paid contract in NBA history, and he's proving it why he's in the MVP case now. I mean, we just talked about Jokic being out. He'll probably won't be that 65 game eligible rule for the award, but Jaylen Brown will be from this moment, and he's deserving of being in it. He took the heart about that not winning NBA Player of the Month. Uh, he lost it to Jalen Brunson, but
Yeah.
then his very next game drops 50 against the red hot Clippers and shuts down
Crazy.
Kawhi Leonard. It was
Yeah.
like one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. And he's shooting the second most middies in all the NBA, and he's shooting the three ball at a 43% clip in his last 15 games. Like the Celtics are surging hot. Derek White's playing the best defense of his life. And then you're getting all these other contributions from Keita, Jordan Walsh, Luca Garza, Peyton Pritchard has looked like he's found a home in the starting lineup, and it's just like whoa, like all these people, Sam Hauser, all these people that were on the championship team, they all have gotten better as well, and it's actually amazing what they're doing.
Yeah. Um, I look at a few things that have helped them. Obviously, Jaylen Brown is proving every day that he's worth what they're paying him. And kind of pains me to say because I've always been one of the biggest like Jaylen Brown guys. Like he doesn't have a left hand, he doesn't have a left hand, but like
Right.
the reality of the situation is he's a bucket and he's a
Hmm.
defensive menace. And he is worth everything that the Celtics have invested in him, and I will never doubt that again.
Yeah.
So that's number one. And then they're also getting massive contributions from Derek White, from Peyton Pritchard. Anthony Simons is having good games off the bench. And then they've got that center down there that's balling as well.
Keita.
Keita, he is doing fantastic. A lot to like about this Boston team. Do I think they're a finals team? Hear me out. Like Jason Tatum wants to play this season.
Yeah.
So like if you get a Jason Tatum that averages 20 at the very
Mm,
least, think about what that's going to add to their team. And the
yeah.
East is already wide open. So it's like, um, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
they're going to be something fun to watch. I definitely think they might go and trade for a small piece at the deadline just to add some
Hmm.
more depth. But as crazy as it is to say, like Boston is not taking the year off that we thought they were because we thought this was going to be like a team that wasn't even going to make the play-in tournament.
Top three pick, honestly.
Yeah, because like they're what we thought the Pacers like the Pacers
Yeah.
are the worst team in the East. We thought they'd be down there with them.
100%.
So they're proving wrong every single day. They're winning the games they should win, and they're playing great. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, no, Jaylen Brown has definitely won me over completely. Besides his run in the finals, but he's really because at the time it was like, oh, could he do this without Tatum, or could he do this on his own team? And he's proving everybody that he can do this with or without Tatum. And I think
Yeah.
it'll be kind of interesting to see the dynamic once Tatum comes back, because I think at least for this season, it's still Brown's team.
Hmm.
But going into next year, it's like, oh, Brown's now developed this skill set of being a better playmaker like Tatum. Like, where does that take him to another level? And then as far as trades go, like you said, like, why not add a little something to this team? Like, are you afraid of the Knicks? You're like, yeah, you lost to them last year in the playoffs, but they have their own struggles. The Pistons, they've only made the playoffs once in the past year. Like, they have the championship DNA. They could do everything. So, it's like just one of those things that we'll keep an eye out. I just love what they're doing. I love Missoula. I think he should get a ton of credit. He should
Yeah.
be a leading vote getter for Coach of the Year behind Mitch Johnson in San Antonio, just for because nobody thought, you know what I mean? I feel like when we talk about like these awards, like you have to put in retrospect where everybody thought their expectations were, and he's blown expectations
Yes, he
out the
has.
water. So
Yeah.
kudos to him.
Yeah, yeah. They'll be a team to watch come playoff time. But then they're the 2 seed right now. Let's talk about who's sitting at 1. I feel like we haven't addressed them much this season, but Detroit has emerged. They have their rebuild is over.
Yeah.
They have arrived. And I remember when we did our outlook video on this team, I said they're going to be a top 4 seed, and I said
Hmm.
they're going to win one playoff series. And
Hmm.
so I still think that's going to hold true.
Oh,
They
wow.
I did not think they would be the 1 seed though, so
Right.
they have exceeded everybody's expectations. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on this team.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about them a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, wow, it's been that long. They were like 17-0, they were balling, but now they're starting to ring some like noticeable games. Last week they beat or not last week, yesterday they beat Cleveland, and then on the second night of a back-to-back tonight, they beat the Knicks. And that's just a hell of a back-to-back to go, and they blew out the Knicks tonight. That wasn't even close. Like they shut them up, and it was like crazy. They were without Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris. Like they're still doing all this without these fellas. And Cade is here. He's not going anywhere. There's a reason why Nike appointed him on their socials as of late. He'll probably get a signature shoe. He's probably the best USA player right now, at least in the Eastern Conference. Like, I don't think that's far fetched. Or him and Jaylen Brown, like they're balling, and it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, like I still think. I mean, for me personally, I still think the loss of Malik Beasley is huge because he led the lead in shooting or was top
Yes.
3 last year. They need a shooter. I would love them to do a minor all-in move with MPJ. I just can imagine MPJ
Oh
on
my
the
gosh.
wing or in the corner with Cade and Duren pick and roll. Like that completely changes the whole motive of the Pistons. And you can get there pretty easily. Like you can go Ivy, Tobias Harris, an expiring contract, and Tobias Harris, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, add some picks, and it's like you can make some damage there because I think their problem now is shooting. And tonight they shot the lights out the ball. That's why they killed the Knicks.
Hmm.
But I love their defensive tenacity. Ron Holland off the bench, Dennis Jenkins, like they're getting contributions from everybody, and it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, I think one thing you mentioned with the Malik Beasley production, they've had Duncan Robinson, but he's only shooting it at 38%.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think adding another shooter at the deadline would be something that they need to look into.
Hmm.
So I fully agree with that. That would kind of cement their just their ability to put another guy into the game that can produce from the 3-point line.
Right.
And yeah, I think defensively they've been very impressive. They've been very scrappy. I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, the Pistons have been the bad boy Pistons for generations. They've built
Hmm.
themselves on defense, and you're kind of starting to see that slowly be reborn. And it's kind of exciting to watch.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see what happens with Detroit. They've only lost 9 games all season. So I mean, do they lose 20? I mean, if they stay healthy, I don't think they lose 20.
Yeah. No, you cut
So
out on that last bit. I'm sorry.
yeah, so like the question was like, do we think they'll even lose 20 games? If they stay healthy, I don't think they'll even lose 20.
What's their record right now?
27-9,
They probably lose 20, but it's close. Like I could
but it's
easily
close.
see this being a 60-win ball club for sure. Um, Because I mean, the East, like they're gonna play Washington 4 times. They're gonna play Detroit, or not Detroit. The Hornets 4 times. Even though the Hornets just beat the Thunder, which I guess anything can happen any given night. But they're gonna
Yeah,
play Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So it's just, I would, if I'm Detroit, like at the a month ago, I was like, oh, they have to do this Lowry marketing deal. But now I'm kind of at the point where, okay, maybe they don't need to do Lowry. Maybe that's like a super all-in trade they don't need. I think it'd still be dope. Um,
yeah,
right? But I think if you could do like an MPJ where you trade your older veteran players like Tobias Harris and a young guard and Jaden Ivey who just hasn't hit, which is completely fine, and you surround Cade with this shooter plus. Like he's not just a shooter; he can take the ball at the dribble. He's a great help defender. Like he's a really good fit on basically any team. Honestly, that's trying to win basketball games. Someone who is the uh, what am I trying to say? He was the third option in Denver. Now he's the number one. And if he goes to Detroit, he'd be like 2.5-ish. Like he'll get his shots up the same as Brooklyn, not as much, but it's not like Cage's like this ultimate chucker and like he finds guys easily. So I'm excited for Detroit though. It's super dope watching them be good again. Asar Thompson's been great. Ron Holland's been great. But I
no,
think
for
they
sure.
are a couple shooters away from me really cementing them as a clear favorite in the East.
Yeah, definitely. I have a highlight to show. Something crazy just happened, so I'm gonna
Oh
pull that
god.
up real quick. So we'll give you a little sneak peek preview here. So Houston Phoenix, they were tied going down to the wire in the fourth against the Phoenix Suns. So we will go ahead and show what exactly just happened in that game. So let me pull that up. All right, here we go. Kevin Durant, baby.
Jabari the inbounder into Kevin Durant. Durant for three.
Oh, KD.
All game, baby.
100.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. I just had to show that. I just got the alert on my phone, so I was like, why not show that live?
That's awesome.
The pull up
That
three
is
for the win.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's a team, they're gonna be without Shingun the next 2 weeks. So you got
Yeah.
this old veteran and KD that, hey, he's gonna have to carry the load a little bit. They don't have that interior force in Shingun being the first option every night. KD's gonna have to pick up, and you still have a men there.
Yeah.
That's an awesome team. Fuck.
I was at the game that Shengu got injured, and like it was literally the first play of the game. And like I sat
Yeah.
back and I was like, I saw him limp off. I'm like, Dad, gummit, I wanted to see him play, you know?
Right.
So unfortunately he didn't finish the night, but yeah, they're only big because Steven Adams is dealing with injuries too. So the only big you have outside of that is Clint Capella. So they're gonna have to figure that out down there in Houston these next couple weeks. But let's go ahead and wrap it up with just a couple minutes just to talk about what's upcoming. Obviously, February 5th is the deadline. That's going to be when teams are going to be shifting their assets around and trying to either contend or dump. So what are some names for you to watch at the deadline?
I mean, for me, I think the obvious one is the Kuminga situation. I think that's completely ran its course. It probably should have wrapped up in the summer, but it didn't. And I don't know the exact teams that Kuminga should go to, but I think it's a team that he needs the ball in his hand, team that he could just do what he wants. Teams like that. I mean, I think Chicago, I think, is a really good fit. Him and Buzelis is an interesting 3-4 tandem for the next coming years. You have Anthony Davis and Dallas, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento.
Yeah,
Those
Phil
are
Fires.
aging vets, all looked at to be super bad contracts. You got desperate teams like Milwaukee. What do they do? It doesn't look like Giannis is gonna ask for a trade. So it's like, oh, even though the Knicks really could need a Giannis right now, ironically.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. This last time we talked, I was thinking to myself, like, do we want to pull the trigger? Because, that's like what we said, right? What did I say? I said, if you get to the trade deadline and you think, like, okay, we can contend, but we could use a Giannis, you do the deal. But if you're number one seed dump, they're not dominating. So it's like, you could do it.
Especially when I watch Cat as of late, too. It's like there's
Yeah.
just too many mental lapses where he forgets to box out Luke Cornett, and then he gets an and one, and they lose to the Spurs, or it's the other night where he just doesn't have the motor to go. And one thing about Giannis, like he's going to give you 150%, And I know he doesn't have the shooting touches that Cat has, but listen, Giannis is gonna get you 30 a night.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
easily.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think a team to watch that will run the deadline will be Atlanta.
Mm,
I think they'll be the big determiner. They've obviously want to move Trae. They've had their interest in the various big men around the league, most notably AD. I think they'll be a team to watch to say, like, look, do we want to win now? Do we want to offload and wait till the off season?
hmm
And just kind of see. I think Golden State's looking for a center.
Yeah.
We'll see where they go there. There's a couple names on the market that might go for a Vucevic or something like that.
hmm
And then you obviously have the Sacramento Kings fire sale. So we don't really know what's going to happen there. Do they move all three? Do they keep all three? Does
hmm
Levine get moved? I know that Milwaukee has had interest in bringing in a Zach Levine to kind of help out Giannis even more. So if they can get his commitment, that would be interesting to see.
That's interesting.
Um, I think also there'll be like every trade deadline has a series of really small moves that occur. So I think there will be more of those, like, Detroit getting a shooter or a bench
hmm
player going here or a bench player going there. So that'll be fun to watch. But as far as like big trades are concerned, another one, I will be interested to see what Houston does about a point guard. Will they stand
Mm,
pat or will they go get someone?
yeah.
So that's another situation to monitor. But yeah, I think Atlanta will be the team to watch in the trade deadline, especially after what happened today with Trae Young. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see like where the direction of their franchise goes. But that's about all I can think of.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, like just with the whole idea of tanking, like now when you have the worst record in the league, it doesn't really guarantee that you'll have the number one pick. So it's like, where do we go from here? And like you have teams like Utah who they should have probably traded Lowry Marketing like 3 years ago and didn't. You have teams like Brooklyn that has all this cap space. Like, what do they do? But I think you're right. Like a team like the Warriors, like they have this interest in a big, but they're willing to give up Moses Moody, who I think is a great 3-and-D player, Kaminga, potentially Draymond Green in a bigger deal. Um, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a quiet trade deadline, unfortunately. I don't think a lot's gonna get done. Which means it's gonna be a crazy summer, potentially, but I think for me, like you said, the Hawks was a team to watch. I think a team I would love to watch be active is the Miami Heat. They've kind of flown
Mm,
under the radar this
yeah.
year. Tyler Hero hasn't got a contract extension. I could see him getting traded. I don't know for who. I think they're saving their bigger contracts for potentially a Giannis asking out. Which I think if you have Giannis and Bam, that's a hell of a start to contending in the East. But
Oh, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up a point. Um, yeah, but on Miami, yeah, that is true. I think that's going to be a team that's going to be active. Yeah, I've always said South Beach and Giannis just feel like they go together.
hmm
But I think another thing to note, like I feel like I've been dealing with this for the past five. I feel like ever since COVID, I've been dealing with this. Every year they tell us the trade deadline is going to be slow, and it
hmm
never is. Like
Yeah.
literally last year they said the trade deadline was going to be slow, and we both know it was the craziest trade deadline
Of all
probably in NBA
time.
history.
Yeah.
So, and then the year before that, you've got other trades to go down, and then like I just remember like every trade deadline is defined by like two or three big deals that go down.
hmm
I cannot remember the last time we had a trade deadline where nothing crazy went down. So I think we're definitely going to get a Trae Young move. I think that's imminent. And then anything outside of that will really just come down to the next couple of weeks. I think there will be more players that will emerge that we don't know about that will
Mm. I
introduce
hope.
themselves to the trade discussions. Because stars will wait till weeks before the deadline to say, "Hey, I want out. I want to be moved." So
Right.
I think there could be another guy from a destination that could pop. Like I think like with the Clippers, you want to monitor a guy like James Harden. What happens with him? Does James Harden want to
hmm
stay with the Clippers? Um, does Kawhi want to get dealt? Stuff like that. Kawhi could be a valuable asset for any East team that wants to make a run. You could say that about you could say that about a lot of the West because of the balance of power. Like, is there going to be an East team that steps up and says, "Hey, we need this specific player to help us win now"? So, it could be slow, but I just genuinely don't think it will be. It never is. It's the NBA.
Yeah.
People everyone makes trades, so we'll just have to see what happens as we go down to the wire. February, the start of February is gonna be a busy month for us. That's gonna be, oh boy, I can't wait, but it's gonna be fun.
And we're a month out from today, so like,
yeah,
each day goes on, like you'll probably hear more and more rumors going around. Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball earlier on the year, those were two people that were regarded that Zion, they could get traded. Do the Pelicans want to trade any of the Herb Jones or Trey Murphy guys? Like, there's potential for a lot of fireworks to happen. I feel like what I'm starting to look at too now, especially after that loss for OKC tonight, does OKC like, hey, we have all these draft picks, we have these players, and their cap sheet gets a little murky starting next season. Like, do we try to make a trade now, or San Antonio, like a team that's beaten the OKC, the defending champs, 3 times? Like, hey, are we one move away? Are we a Trey Murphy away?
Yeah.
Are we a Herb? Like, what do the top teams in the Western Conference think of themselves?
Yeah, OKC could absolutely make an upgrade to their starting lineup. I think there's someone out there that could fill in the Lou Dort position for them, that they could add something more offensively. Lou Dort is no slouch on defense, obviously, but if they're trying, because the main critique with Caruso was did not have a bag on offense. What did they do? Or no, I shouldn't say that. Like, the main critique with that lineup was Giddey was kind of the hole. What did they do? They plugged the hole with Caruso. So, I think you could do the same thing with Lou Dort just to add some more shooting, possibly. That could be a thing. San Antonio too. The biggest thing for San Antonio, this is my only hesitation with San Antonio, and it's been this way all season. Can Wemby stay healthy?
Yeah.
Because that's been, now even when he's not healthy, they've been winning, but I don't think that's something you can rely on down the stretch at all.
Especially come playoff time.
Yeah, come playoff time, you're going to need him available 24/7. I honestly think that San Antonio could win the West. I do. I think if Wemby is healthy and they faced off against OKC, they would beat them. I do think that. But it's all about the right situation, right? Wemby's got to stay healthy. I think they need a good solid bracket in order to get there, because they're on the same end as OKC right now, so they wouldn't see them probably until the conference finals. Yeah. So looking at that, you're going to have to get past some juggernauts probably. You might have to play an Anthony Edwards in the first round. You might have to play Denver in the first round. If you might have to play a Dallas in the first round once Kyrie comes back. You might, you just never know. And then there are some other teams sitting down there in the play-in as well that could potentially make some noise in the West. And then trying to think, you've got there's also the Lake Show with Luka, and we're just going to kind of figure that out as we go. Obviously, defensively, there's some problems there, but looking at the standings, I would say avoid dropping to 3 as much as possible, because then you'll get Ant in the first round. So if they stay where they're at, you never know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And San Antonio has the luxury too. Like, as much as I would love for them to go all in this year, Dylan Harper's in his first year, Castle's in his second, Wemby's in his third. Like, they're probably realistically 2-3 years. Probably, I would say 2 years realistically from actually competing. But I mean, like you said, with Wemby's health concerns, you just don't know. Maybe his window is now, because he might not have that 15-year career LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, these perennial all-stars all tend to have. And so his time might be now, So.
Yeah, because when you're a 7'5" guy playing like a point guard, very
we never
rarely.
Seen it.
Yeah, we never seen it. So it's I'm not surprised by some of these soft tissue injuries that he's been having, just based on the way that he plays the game. I just hope this isn't a chronic type of issue. I hope this is just just injuries, that, because even though San Antonio is like, right down the road for me, it's like, it's fun to watch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've never seen anything like Victor Wembanyama. So it's like,
Right.
I'll always root to see him thrive. So, and obviously I just don't want OKC to repeat. So,
Right.
would love to see someone else represent the West. But yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see them package up like a Sohan, Kelly Olynyk. Those players have lost. They're not in the rotation at all right now. They have draft picks, try to get a positional upgrade. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they just need to stay the course, build for the future, keep building, make a little maybe baby move like if one comes available. But they're super fun to watch. OKC, I think, is the one where, especially after tonight, they need to make a trade. They have all these picks. They're not going to be able to have these $14 million rookies if they get like a top 6 pick from these other teams that are losing. Like, you're not going to be able to afford that. Like, start putting together some of these picks, make for a win now player. And they're the first champ. I mean, we talked about in the season outlook where they're the first championship team to bring back every single important person.
Yeah.
And
they had no
it's
turnover.
like it's hard to repeat like that. That's why you see a lot of championship teams make moves, because it's hard to just run back the same team.
Yeah, you don't see it very often. That's true. I think, yeah, you're right with OKC. I mean, they've got flipping 4 first-round picks this year. It's like, you can't package one of those to go get somebody that you want, like, that could help you improve tremendously. I like when I look at their starting lineup, the obvious hole is Lou Dort, honestly. Like, because offensively, he just cannot provide you what you need. It's just not there. And having him as your starting 3, I mean, you could do a lot better than Lou Dort. Obviously, again, defensively, he's there, but that can be replicated with a better player that can, produce for them on offense. That's the obvious hole. Now, you may not even have to trade Dort. You could always move Dort to the bench. I don't know how he'd feel about that. I'm just speaking on hypotheticals, but there are scenarios, and obviously, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is probably going to win his second MVP unless
Jokic comes back in enough games.
Yeah, or Luka Doncic gets the Lakers in the right direction defensively. I mean, so those are the 3. I think Jokic is out. Like, will he miss the game mark? I think he'll be like. I think he will.
I think he has to come back exactly 4 weeks from the injury, and that doesn't seem right.
It won't matter, but it'll be interesting to see who comes in third. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will it be like I don't know who that would be. So that'll be kind of interesting to see who comes in third. But
especially, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But the whole 65 game minimum, like, if we have all NBA first team where no Wemby, Jokic, or Giannis, like, what's the point? Like, that doesn't tell the story of the season. You know what I mean? So it's like,
we had our injuries conversation during our Giannis podcast, and we talked about like eliminating back-to-backs. But I think another thing that needs to be considered is if you don't want to eliminate games, then like stretch out the season a bit. You could always start earlier, because ever since the Giannis podcast, the problems have continued. You know what I'm saying?
I think they got worse.
Yeah, like instead of soft tissue calf strains, we're getting knee hyperextensions from both Wemby and Jokic in a matter of a week. Yeah. And you've got players going down with soft tissue this, soft tissue that. So it's like these players are just playing too much. So if there's any way we can shorten / start the season at a different point in time, that would definitely be worth exploring. But the NBA season trudges on, and we just continue to watch and be fans of it. That's how it goes.
Yeah. You got anything else to add?
I don't think I do.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys tuning in for today's episode. Comment below what you guys think about the whole Trae Young situation. Where do you want to see Trae Young play? Is this it for him? Like, is this a career-defining moment for him? Tell us about what your thoughts about Jaylen Brown and the MVP discussions and Detroit's dominance. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Like the video, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace and stay safe.